Welcome to the Scratching Pen Podcast. Hi, I am Beverly Jones Durr, 47-time published author, publisher, and educator. And I am here to help you write your book. All those creative juices that are locked up in you that you're trying to create something tangible, we are here to help you. The show will include lots and lots of tips to help you get started writing, help you through your writing, and to help you publish your book. There will be other authors on the show and other educators who are here just for you. Your questions will be answered, and hopefully you will learn a whole lot and take away so much that I'll be reading your book soon. Sit back, put your seatbelt on, get your notepad ready, and I'll see you on the other side. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Scratching Pen Podcast, like my little feather pen there. Yep, and thank you, Lenny, who created this pen for me in honor of the scratching pen. Thank you so much. Okay, so before we even get started, I would like you to subscribe and share because we're building up our fan base. That's right, I said it, fans. And today we have a really, really special person to talk to you today. I can't wait to get into everything. Her name is Joanne Moore. Welcome, Joanne. Tell us a little bit about you.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for having me today. So my name's Joanne Moore, but everyone just calls me Jo. And I'm here to talk to you today about writing and publishing. I'm a self-published author of currently 2 children's books. I'm hoping to release more, but as some of you probably know already, these things take time, lots of effort, money, so it can be quite difficult and time consuming. I am 40 years old. I hopefully don't look it, but perhaps I do. I have 2 children. One of them is 18 and has just moved away to university, and the other one has recently turned 9 years old. The 2 books that I've had published, I've published under a collection name, which is called the Bit Different Collection. And I have published 2 books so far. So I've got Bertie, the Very Blind Bat, and I have Crosby, the Not So Snappy Crocodile.
Yeah. I love those names.
Yeah. The aim of my books, or the kind of theme of the books, are difference, self-acceptance, self-belief, and I guess that the aim really is just to promote acceptance and inclusion, and also give people an opportunity to understand and appreciate that not everybody's the same, and it's okay to be a little bit different. It's okay to have a hearing aid, or walk with a limp, or have behavioural problems, all of these things that we are going to experience throughout life, and that I believe children perhaps need to be introduced to a little bit earlier when they're young, in the hope that that's going to shape them into really lovely, caring, welcoming young people.
Wow, you are addressing those emotions and topics that most people don't talk about to children. So I applaud you for that. I absolutely agree that they should know about things as they grow, so that those things seem to them when they are older to be normal, so that we can understand. I totally agree. Living in America, where we've been called the mixing bowl, meaning that we have a long amount of people coming from different locations, we seem to have the most trouble accepting the differences of others.
Yeah.
And I really believe it's because we weren't experiencing those types of individuals, nor were our parents discussing those types of individuals when we were young. I don't know how many kids out there have been told, oh, they're too little to know this, or they're too young to know this. But we actually have published authors on Amazon.com as young as 3 years old. Now, most people would think nobody at the age of 3 is going to be writing a book, but they did.
Yeah.
11 of them did. So
Wow.
I'm the kind of person who doesn't like to put tags on individuals or limit them, because only God knows how far they're going to stretch and grow.
Absolutely.
I'm glad you're doing that, and I can't wait to read your books. But first, tell us about this first one. I would love to hear about that one.
Yeah, so Bertie the Very Blind Bat, he was actually the book that I wrote last out of all my collection, and he's very cute. The character is really cute. A lot of the reviews that I've actually had back are about how gorgeous his character is. So a lot of people have a misconception that all bats are blind. We have the saying, you're as blind as a bat. I don't know if you have that in America. I did forget to say before that I'm from England. But yeah, so there's that saying, and Bertie is actually blind, so he cannot see. The story starts off quite comical, so he's banging into things, he's getting injured, but the pictures are kind of comical to support that, and gentle. But then he gets himself into a really tricky situation. And when I go into schools, I do get the children to put their hands over their eyes so that they can't see, so that they get an idea of imagining, could I find my way home if my eyes were covered like this? Would I know how to get to my classroom if I couldn't see at all? So that they start to empathize with the character. He gets into this tricky situation, and it's all about whether he can get himself out of it. And his bravery kind of conquers all. Despite the fact that he's blind, he's able to rely on his other senses, which we might not be able to do. Those of us that can see, if we were put in that situation where we couldn't, chances are we'd probably panic. Whereas Bertie is brave, and even though he starts to lose his confidence, he's able to re-find it. So it's a heartwarming story with a really lovable character, and that's what I wanted to do with these books. I thought if we introduce ideas in a really gentle way and a really positive way to students and young people, then firstly it's getting them to think about others and people with medical conditions or disabilities. It's getting them to empathize with them, and then hopefully understand that these disabilities do not define a person, and do not kind of make them any less valuable than the others.
Yes, that's a great lesson for a child to learn. Some of us, as my mother used to say, some people are blind, but yet some people are blind, but yet they can see. And I remember thinking about that. I don't know how young I was when she said it, but I remember thinking about that. It took me a while to understand what the phrase meant, that even though you have your sight, you still don't see. You sometimes ignore people who are not like yourself,
and you don't look deep.
Right. And I love the little nature of kindness that's developed from a book like yours, because when the children start to look at the differences in other people as not negative, and look at them as though they can still produce and function, that brings in some degree of kindness, and maybe even, like in Bert here, help him find his way. even though he
Absolutely.
really can't see. So I love that book. I can't wait to get that book. I wrote that book down. I collect books. I'm a book ninja.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
I actually had a parent shortly after I'd released Bertie, and I had a parent find me on social media, and she let me know that her young son was losing his sight and was going to become night blind. And she said, you know, she's really struggled to find books that introduce that idea to him.
Mm,
She was worried about having to have that discussion with him when he was so young.
mhm,
So she said, I think she said she cried when she read the Bertie book because finally there was something that was going to help her address this with her young son. So, you know, it's comments like that that keep you going and that keep you
mhm.
driven when you feel a little bit demotivated. And
Yeah.
sometimes all it takes is that one comment. If nobody else had bought my book at that point, I still would have felt like I'd been successful
Yeah.
in reaching them.
Yes. I teach the kids to write a bestseller
Yeah,
that somebody out there is waiting to read.
yeah,
Even if it's just one individual, the purpose of writing your book has been completed
yeah,
because you're not writing for 50 million people. Not 50 million people won't identify in the genre that you're writing, and they may not even identify with you as the author. But there is somebody out there wondering, what if I use my words? And your books are giving them permission actually to use their words to speak and create. So I love, love, love that. Oh, Birdie. I love him. He's so cool, and I haven't even seen him. So now
Oh,
tell
he's
us about
gorgeous.
your second book.
Yeah, so the second book again was one of the more recent ones that I've written. So I have actually written a number of books, but out of all of them, I just have to assess which I get a feel for and which I want to release next.
Mhm, mhm,
So Crosby, the Not So Snappy Crocodile, I can't speak. Um, I wanted to release something that was different to Bertie. So Bertie has a physical disability, and Crosby is a little bit different in his characteristics and his behaviour. So again, he's a really lovable character. My friend Michelle did the illustrations for both these books, and she just did such a great job at capturing exactly what I needed without me giving her actually too much direction.
mhm,
And he's obviously, what we know of crocodiles is that they snap, they hiss, they're grumpy, and we're quite frightened of crocodiles.
mhm,
Um, but Crosby is actually gentle, he's kind, he doesn't rough and tumble. Some of the images are of I think he's cuddling a doll or a teddy and playing tea sets. And the other crocodiles basically don't accept him. They don't play with him. They mock him. They tell him he's strange. And Crosby starts to lose his confidence a little bit. He's
mhm,
worried that perhaps he needs to change himself in order to fit in.
mhm,
But actually, what he decides to do is to take himself away and out of that situation. And in doing so, he ends up, when he's on his own and he's feeling a bit more confident, um, being himself, developing a new skill. I won't say what that is in case anyone wants to read the book.
mhm,
And the other jungle animals that are different to him, there's a monkey, there's a hippo, there's a giraffe, and they actually recognize this talent and they start to watch him and praise him. And he can't believe that finally he's been accepted and being praised just for being himself.
mhm,
I've had some readers contact me to say that they believe this book kind of introduces LGBT topics.
mhm, mhm,
Um, And somebody else contacted me, actually, a parent, and this was quite recently. She said that her son had been having loads of difficulties, lots of things upsetting him, which meant that he wasn't sleeping, and they were having a really difficult time with him. And they read Crosby a couple of times at night, and she said then one night he just said to her, I like Crosby because it's kind of like me. And she said, what do you mean by that? And he said, well, it's all about just finding your team and swimming away from anything that upsets you. And she said it was the first time that he didn't wake up in the night. Now, I don't know if he's woke up since, because she hasn't let me know about that. But again, just hearing that brings you so much pride and joy, and you kind of feel like you've done what you set out to do.
Yeah. Finding his team. I love that, because you don't fit in everywhere, but you fit in somewhere, and finding that team is really important when you're growing up.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. So the two books that you have, tell me where we can find them.
Both of them are available on Amazon at the moment. I'm unsure of the exchange rate and how that differs, but in terms of my currency, they are usually £7.99, which I think is around $6, maybe $6.50. They are both on sale at the moment, but it's probably only going to be for another few days. I released them on sale because this week was exactly 1 year since Bertie was published. So I thought I needed to celebrate. So they're both on sale for £6.99. And Amazon's the only place, I think, kind of worldwide that you can access those at the moment.
Okay. Well, that sounds great. I'm going to be buying probably, I like to buy like 10 copies of each book. I'm going to tell you why. Not only am I a book ninja, but my plans are to give them out to children during the holiday season when I'm out shopping. So I have these bags of books in the back of my SUV, of books that I have purchased for kids, and I just give them out. I also have a friend who has an organization that does the same thing, so I'm helping her out with books.
That's gorgeous.
Cannot wait to read yours. And also, my little critics are my grand twins, Ashton and Aiden. They read all the books. So I can't wait to see what conversations are going to come up from both of these books. It's going to be cute and amazing.
Positive ones, I hope.
Always, because they love books like their grandma. I sent them books from the time they were 1 year old. And of course, they couldn't read them, but they could tell the stories by looking at the pictures, and they still love books.
Yeah, I think it's so important to read to children. I mean, my eldest, I think I started to read to her at about 6 months old. We weren't actually reading, we were just turning the pages. But I remember a midwife or a health visitor telling me that that was really important to do, and I wanted to do everything right. And with my second one, she was a little bit older actually before I started to read to her, because I had my oldest to also read to at the same time. But both of them have a love for books. We set aside every time, every night. In fact, it's nighttime here, and I've just been reading with my youngest cuddled up in my bed now. She reads independently to me, but it gives me a chance to read myself now. And to young people that are listening, I would say just it's so important to continue to read fiction, read non-fiction, find what you enjoy reading, whether that's poetry, short stories, chapter books. And there's a saying, I think it's something like raising readers is raising leaders. And you are gaining so much knowledge and creativity, and it helps you to write, it helps you to visualize things. it's just so important to keep reading. Read with your parents, read by yourself. Yeah, read.
Yeah, reading can take you places that you may not be able to physically travel and help you to learn about people all over the world. When I was younger, that's what I did. And I think that was what sparked my reading. I could go to Paris, France without leaving my house.
Yeah.
I could sit in a castle among other people, and it was wonderful. It's a great way to open up your imagination and create these wonderful pictures of places that you've never seen before.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well,
Absolutely.
thank you, Miss Joanne, for being on our show today. I've enjoyed our conversation, and I'm sure our little readers have enjoyed it too. You guys, if you have any questions for her, send them to director@beverlyjonesdurr.org. If you want to send in some questions for me, you can use the same email. All right, now, so keep reading, keep writing, and until next time, I'll see you later.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
I hope you enjoyed today's episode of the Scratching Pen Podcast. Were you motivated? Did you pick up a few tips? I certainly hope so. Subscribe to the Scratching Pen Podcast so that you'll be notified the next time we launch an episode. And wherever it is that you're able to see the Scratching Pen Podcast, leave us a message. Tell us how we're doing. And share with your friends. Stay tuned for more exciting episodes and amazing guests. Until next time.